Okay.
Okay, so no secrets. Chapter 12. Peter took me to a cave opening by the sea and led me down a deep staircase to a cool, damp cave, illuminated by a glowing pool of water. The whole way here, not a word was said. What the fuck? That really messed me up. The whole way here, not a word was said.
Also, what's messing me up is that like now we're back to like full paragraphs rather than like one line at a time, like weird poetry.
Peter stepped forward to stand by the pool and began singing in a whisper of some language I didn't know. Mix of pirate and European, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what languages is it, Everyone seems to just conveniently speak English on the island, so.
Yeah. The language flowed nicely, though, with lots of vowel sounds. His voice was strong and nice sounding. Suddenly, the glass-like surface of the water was disturbed, and the head of a woman peeked out of the water until her entire upper body was above the surface.
Her upper body? Her lower body was below.
Her little midget friend on top of her shoulders. I'm the upper body. Spiffy!
Spiffy.
She swam over to the side of the pool and gracefully lifted herself out of the pool. My eyes widened as I saw where I should have seen legs. A glistening, deep purple fishtail about 4 feet long that ended in large sweeping fins that were slightly transparent. Of course, she's a mermaid.
Of course, all mermaids are transparent.
Without a glance to us, she began wringing out her brown hair. She was wearing a shimmery lavender one-shoulder bandeau bikini. She finished wringing out her hair and looked up at me and then to Peter, seeming to communicate with him through her large, doughy brown eyes. Is that the right adjective? Doughy? It's different spelling, so I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't.
Makes me think she's got like cookie dough eyes. Or something.
Maybe like a deer, Like
probably.
That's how it's spelled, anyways. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not correct usage, but that's fine.
Peter nodded solemnly, and the woman nodded back.
Solemnly.
Not as solemnly.
Yeah, this is a solemn chapter, guys. You can already tell.
I tore my gaze from her to look at Peter. His green eyes were glistening with tears. Oh my, so emotional. Get ready. I'll be ready for this.
My heart's already wrenched.
My heartstrings are tugged.
They have been tugged.
My heart broke as I watched the tears suddenly roll down his face to land in the pool. Nothing substantial had happened yet, but already I was crying.
Yes, so deep and emotional.
The mermaid leaned over the pool and singing in the same vowel-y language.
I like it's like these things are like just like these glaring things that take you out of the scene.
A vowel-y language.
Like last season, they were like, or like the last chapter or whatever, she was like sneaking into his like house or whatever, his tree house, and like she was like he's sleeping on the bed or whatever, and like and it's like hey wakey eggs and bakey, like it's just like this dramatic like scene, like yeah, it's so jarring. And then here's like the same vowel-y language, like these little things that just take you out of the story.
All right, she lightly touched the surface. The ripple clouded the pool's surface, but when it cleared, it was no longer a reflection of the cave. I saw a young girl of about 13, with long, curly golden hair and blue eyes like sapphires. She was wearing a pretty white dress with blue stripes on the hem, around the boat neckline, and on the sleeves, which went to just above her shoulders. She had a large blue bow holding her curly golden hair back in a half up. She was laughing, as everyone does in this story,
yes,
as she ran into the arms of a young teenage boy with shaggy red hair and green eyes. Excuse me. She put her arms around his neck as he held her around the waist. "What is it you wanted to tell me, Peter?" she asked in a clear voice with an English accent. "Wendy, will you stay with me forever?" Peter asked. Wendy looked down and her arms loosened. "Peter, you know I can't leave my family. John and Michael would miss me so, and I miss them. And I them. They can stay too. They can stay too," Peter said in a low voice. "But what are my parents, Peter? They would never believe me, let alone come themselves," Wendy replied. "I've done fine without parents. Who needs parents?" Peter asked, beginning to look irritated.
I think this whole story is going to be about like how he figured out how if he just forces them to stay, then they can't leave.
Yeah, so that's the dark reveal.
Yeah.
Wendy looked up at him, her eyes filled with tears. "Peter, don't make me choose." Peter looked guilty at having made her cry. Peter held her by the shoulders, looking deep into her glistening blue eyes. "Wendy, I love you," he said in a low voice. Wendy began sobbing and buried her face in his chest. I love you too. she said.
Maybe
deep
her
booping
is
between
another
sobs.
character, and she buried her.
She cried into his shoulder for a moment before the sobs subsided, and then she reached up and brought his face closer to hers. His emerald eyes met her sapphire ones. Oh man, all these diamonds metaphors. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
As he lifted his hand to brush her cheek, they gazed into each other's eyes before closing them as their lips met in a soft, intimate kiss.
I know it sounds gross, but it is intimate.
Yeah, hey, don't worry, guys. It's intimate. I could feel the torrent of emotion they were experiencing: confusion, sadness, and love. They pulled apart and gazed into each other's eyes again. But I can't stay. No, okay. I thought something was gonna follow that. Wendy breathed in the softest, saddest whisper, which twisted my heart. Peter's eyes filled with tears. He clenched his jaw, looked away, and swallowed. I need to think, he said, turning from her and taking his arms from around her.
And this is gonna be his descent into madness. This is what all leads to the Peter pancakes.
Where's the shadow coming in? Yeah. Wendy's parting gift was a pile of pancakes.
This will be the currency.
On my Neverland kingdom, I'll be king.
The one and only.
Over the ocean. Her arms fell hopelessly to her sides. Peter, come home with me, she said in a last effort of saving their love. You know I can't, Wendy, Peter replied. Why not? She demanded. I don't belong, he said.
He spends half his life there anyways, watching movies.
Wendy scrunched her face. That's not an adequate reason, Peter. Come on, give me something better.
Yeah.
And I do not belong
here. Yeah, what if she's
here.
like, we have movies now? He's like, what? He's like,
they're like your fire movies, but better.
He's like, oh, I'll sign me up.
And we have you too. And I do not belong here, yet you asked me to stay, she said with a hint of anger. You could live with us, Peter. Grow up, have a normal life. I do not need, nor do I want parents, Peter. I mean, Wendy, he said. But I need to want parents, Peter, she said. I need to want you too, she added in a whisper. Peter clenched his fist and was shaking. I need to think. He shook his head, turned and walked away. Not looking back at Wendy as she gazed broken-heartedly after him. Silent tears made glistening trails on her rosy cheeks. She slowly sat down and buried her face in her hands. Peter's jaw was clenched again, his body tense. The only thing betraying his emotions was the steady cascade of tears that flowed freely down his face. His breathing was deep, deliberate, and shaky. Suddenly, Peter froze in his tracks as a scream rang out behind him. Uh-oh.
Wendy had been murdered.
Yeah, his shadow killed Wendy. He did what he never could. His eyes widened, and a split second later, he was running back the way he had come, not flying, back to Wendy. He stopped dead, and his heart froze as he saw what was happening. Oh my god, it's very good. Wendy was standing stock still, her eyes wide with fear, her face inches from that of the malevolent entity known as Peter's shadow.
Oh my god.
I don't think it was malevolent in the movie, but okay.
Well, maybe it was just intimidating, like Scarlet.
Yeah. Wendy was screaming his name, the shadow, a jagged black...
What?
Maybe
the shadow becomes Coon.
Oh my god, the ultimate origin story. The shadow, a jagged black ever-changing figure, looked over what would have been its shoulder at Peter, its eyes, but instead it was his foot.
Yeah, it's like a scrambled Peter.
It was a weird shadow. It was one of those weird shadows casted because the sun was at an odd angle. Wendy, shadow, ever-changing figure looked over what would have been its shoulder at Peter. Its eyes were identical to Peter's, but filled with so much hate and evil it left my stomach twisting in knots. A crooked sharp...
Naturally, the shadow is evil, you know.
Yeah, it's so evil because it's dark. So I mean, obviously, it's the dark equivalent.
Well, obviously,
it's not just a little mischievous.
It's a jagged black.
Yeah. A crooked, sharp-toothed grin of gleaming white teeth spread across the shadow's face. No! Peter screamed, but it was hopeless. The shadow dove through Wendy's chest and out her back, holding a bright, shining gem. Her eyes!
Oh my god.
Peter lunged forward to catch Wendy as she fell lifelessly into his arms. The shadow paused and looked at the heartbreaking scene which it had brought, smiled, and soared away. The agonized cry on which Wendy had spent her last breath still rang out through my ears as I watched Peter
Wendy died?
I guess so. He took her gem and left.
Okay, I guess you can just take creative liberties with the original stories. Sure.
That's Shadow seems a little OP, honestly. If you could just kill people like that, one fell swoop. But
yeah.
Okay. Like, didn't really break a sweat over that. I watched Peter cradle her in his arms, sobbing and saying that it was all his fault, begging her to wake up.
No, it's my Shadow's fault.
Yeah, really. When you think about it. yelling at the shadow and the world. My heart felt like it had been punched. I couldn't bear to watch, but my eyes wouldn't look away. The pain in Peter's glistening eyes brought tears to my own. Wendy still looked as lovely as ever, as if she were asleep, though I knew she wasn't. Slowly, I pulled back to the present as the pool clouded over and the sorrowful scene was replaced by the reflections of the cave ceiling. And Peter and I.
Why did you have to go involve the mermaid for this too?
Yeah, like, is she just like Peter's memory keeper?
He's like, yeah, hold on to these for me.
That's your job now. Stay here forever.
Yeah, you just hold on my baggage.
For me to explain some lore to visitors.
Right.
Soon I was back to the present. Blah, blah. I could see him crying through his blurry reflection. His tears dripped into the pool at a steady tempo, causing ripples.
It was rather like a metronome.
I'm here to sing U2 songs. I didn't know what to say. Peter broke the silence. It was my fault. I was selfish, and my shadow used that. It fed off of it. Because of my selfishness, the love of my life lost her own.
Wait, why?
No.
I just don't understand like the relationship between him and his shadow. So
I don't. Yeah.
How is it his fault if his shadow did it, and then how did the shadow use his
selfishness?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it'll be explained.
Probably not, actually.
His voice was hard and chilling, and I could feel the hatred he felt towards the shadow. Where's the shadow now? I asked quietly. Banished, he said. Banished to Skull Island, where no one is ever to go. What was that gem it was holding? I asked cautiously. Peter took a shaky breath. Her soul, he choked. Since that day, that guilt has haunted me. I've been terrified to love. Terrified that once again, someone I love would get hurt. I mean, if the shadow's banished, it should be fine, right?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, how banished is the shadow?
Probably, yeah. Like,
why is the shadow evil to begin with?
Yeah, I didn't think it was. It's not evil. It's just like mischievous, mostly. Like, I don't know.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know.
Well, it just kills people occasionally.
Yeah, like, you know, when Peter gets really selfish, I guess.
Sure.
Peter, yeah.
That makes sense. That's convenient.
Yeah, right. But I know that's no way to live. I guess I got over that.
Oh, there you go.
What convenient timing.
Good. No real conflict here.
You're the one on fire now, Chaley. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Basically, your best hope he stays on Skull Island.
I brought you here because you deserve to know what happened. No secrets. He looked into my eyes, and I could see how hard he was fighting to keep his bearing, to keep from falling to the ground. His tears streamed down his face, just like in the memory. My heart melted, and a lump formed in my throat. I couldn't speak, so I just hugged him. I hugged him as hard as I could with all my emotions. Everything I had to offer, I poured into him, doing my best to comfort him. And he hugged me back, pressing me close to him with my head against his chest and stroking my hair as his body was racked with his shaking sobs. In a short while, he stopped crying, but his body was still shaking.
He's like, there's no way to live.
Yeah, anyways, well, enough of that.
Yeah,
now you know. The one and only.
I think the Indians are having another moon show.
Yeah. It's like, wow, that was worse than the fire movies, Peter. Come on.
Oh, God. I just hope the rest of this book isn't, like, as, like, dumb and emotional.
Yeah.
I hope they just get back to, like,
Anyways, you want my cherry soda drink? Or whatever it is?
Yeah, the cherry flavored one.
We let go of each other. I opened my mouth to speak, but he stopped me. Don't see anything yet. I nodded. Peter turned to the mermaid who had been silently sitting by the edge of the pool. Just, hey guys,
just
you want me to leave now? Or
yeah.
You see me playing on the memory? That's all I can do here, really. So, I'm happy.
You're dismissed.
Yeah. Be gone with you. You can leave now. Or,
she was probably hoping he would throw her a couple
line?
Peter pancakes,
What was the line in the last chapter? You can be done now, or something?
You can be done now. Yeah. You can be done now.
Peter turned to the mermaid who had been silently sitting by the edge of the pool. Thank you, Marelise, he said. The mermaid simply nodded before slipping back into the water, waving before she disappeared. After that, Peter and I walked back up to the stone winding staircase that would lead us back to the mouth of the cave at the surface. And then, to break this emotional tone, oh my gosh, the feels! I hope you all know that I cried when Wendy's death came to me. Like, I was just thinking about my book and making, and then bam, I got chills and started tearing up when it just hit me. I'm such a good writer. I'm just gonna pat myself on the back. I literally made myself cry.
I literally didn't hear it. It just popped up. It was bam. And it just feels.
Yeah, I'm such a genius writer.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, the shadow kills Wendy. I knew it. Oh
what
my
a
god.
great twist. No one would see it coming because it doesn't make any sense.
Because
Brilliant.
The book ended with a different ending altogether.
Yeah. These things just come to me, y'all. That explains your thought process. So many feels. I took forever to write this chapter because I was excited but also dreading it.
Wait. Did you read? Then I kept repeating it over and over. My cousin gasped and then applauded me.
Oh yeah, she had an audience while she was going over this genius idea.
Yeah, and just repeatedly gasping and applauding.
I think she might have been having a seizure, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, she died shortly after, but I figure
it's because I tugged her emotional heartstrings too hard. Her gem fell out. Also, a little aside here. I will tell you a short story. Once upon a time, I was in Walmart and I walked past this hot guy with facial hair and blue eyes, and he was just like, "Hey," all friendly. But like, I panicked, and so I was just like, "Hey," really quiet, and then I quickly walked past. And that's my sad true story. Love y'all.
Huh?
Wow. Well, that was a real emotional roller coaster, I must say.
Yeah, that was almost as sad as the gem thing. I love the first comment. I don't get it.
And then just like,
and like the two straight faces.
when he died. Yeah.
I cried when Wendy died. Dude, I was crying when Wendy. What? Who the fuck? Dude, I was crying when Wendy died. Beautiful. Please applauds. While gasping too. Please update soon, like tomorrow, or even better, later today.
I wish someone I said I like this if I cry every time.
I really need to make an account so I can read all these replies to everything.
I know, right?
Yeah, because I'm missing out. I want to see what happens after the I don't get it.
Yeah, right. Like, did they figure it out?
I just love like the idea is like she tells the story that's like not good, but like supposed to be very emotional or whatever, and then it's just like I don't get it.
I feel like this person like read the first couple lines, like, I don't get it. I don't get no secrets. What do you mean? There's tons of secrets. Then he finished it. It's like, oh my god, so many reviews. Yeah, I cried when Wendy died in that very rushed scene that seemed kind of odd. Like, I don't understand the functions of it really.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I feel like that whole thing was like because this is the first chapter that actually had like plot. Like we can discuss it a little bit more. Like there was. It was like so weird how that was introduced, where it was like basically one time she mentioned like, oh, why don't you have a shadow, and he was like, oh, and then that was it.
It wasn't even like every time it mentioned how Pierre got like more irritated, like his shadow like suddenly grew larger, or even like a little bit of foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Hey!
Well, because his shadow's been banished, so I guess that makes sense. But
no, I mean like in the flashback, I mean because it's like it just suddenly like the shadow just like. Peter's walking away, and suddenly the shadow is its own thing now.
Oh, so yeah. No, like, they made no reference to that. I'm just talking about how, like, in the previous chapters, like, that was the only reference made was, like, you don't have a shadow. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then that's it. Like, that was the only thing. Like, he didn't allude to, like, Wendy at all before, and that like, there's this deep story. Even though then she's like, you seem to be keeping all these secrets. It was, like, literally one time he said one thing.
Just the one cigarette, really.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, so there's that, and then I don't know. I agree. The flashback I think was really poorly executed as well. But I didn't expect anything else. I didn't even expect there to be this. Like, where does the book go from here now? I wonder.
I know now that Wendy has been, brutally murdered by Peter's shadow. He's got blood on his hands.
I mean, the next chapter.
How are they gonna combat this?
Yeah, I guess next time we're gonna go over not another random party, which has even fewer views, which is interesting.
Not another random party.
Yeah.
As if it's like, not another random party. We just actually got some plot now.
Yeah, like, basically. Yeah. And let's see let me just peek ahead. Oh yeah, and then we're getting right into Yo Ho Ho and a bottle of rum. So we're making good coverage on this, We're getting like, basically, basically we're gonna be halfway through in a little bit.
Oh man.
All right. Well, that's a good episode then.
That was pretty good.
I'll send you
an hour and 20 minutes.
I'll send my audio tomorrow, like I've been doing, and I gotta go work on my my paper. But yeah, all right.
Alrighty.
Okay, I'll see you.
See ya.